Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming this session. I really appreciate it. The music in the background is really loud. So my name is, I got a double name, so pretty much people know me as Jacint from NetApp, which is in Romania, typically Jacint from NetApp. I'm an SC systems engineer for NetApp for Southeastern Europe, which is 14 countries at this time. So I went to work pretty much all my time. What I'm trying to do in the next 45 minutes is as I'm trying to show you the full NetApp portfolio. So 5 years ago it was a pretty easy job because we had one single product and it's really easy to show. But it changed in the last 5 years. We got some acquisitions, we got in-house build projects, and we got a lot of new things, especially because the market is changing, so we need to check the market. So if you don't know, NetApp is a Fortune 500 company. I could say that the only thing we do is storage, but this is not true anymore. So we do things around data management, we do things around storage, we do things around virtualization, we do things around cloud, we do things around backup, and so on and so on. So we get a lot of stuff lately. The company started in 1992, and in 1992 we came out with our first product. This first product too was our first, let's say, 18-20 years. So our first 18 years didn't speak anything else but our first product. And our first product was data on NetApp, and the physical platform we built around it was called fast. If you look at the timeline, we did things in the past which pretty much define the future of NetApp and the future of the storage industry as well. So if you look at the lowest part of the picture, we created snapshots in 1992. So 1992 was pretty much ahead of the time. And if you look at the storage market today, there is no storage vendor on earth who doesn't do snapshots. The same goes for unified storage. We came out with the unified storage idea in 2002, and pretty much this is what everybody is selling today. The market is changing, so there are a lot of new trends. There is cloud, there is flash, there is hyper-converged, there is converged infrastructures, and there are a lot of new things, so NetApp has to change as well. So if I look at the portfolio picture, we've got quite a lot of stuff in the last couple of years. So I would say that we have three types of products. We have the green ones. The green ones are, generally speaking, shared storage infrastructure products. This is the product line which grew out from the standard data on that products. What these are used mainly is used for companies as a central storage system of the company. The second part of the portfolio is on the right-hand side. These are dedicated storage infrastructures. These systems come from an acquisition we did 5 years ago from LSI, and we have an industry built around it. And there's the lower part of the picture, what I usually say is everything else. So there are software-based solutions, cloud-based solutions, and things like that. So let me start with the first part of the NetApp history. So this is the data on the line. So if I need to say a few words about data on that today, I usually use this picture. This is not a brand approved slide. This is something I created because I wanted to have one single slide. If I use one single slide, I can tell to everyone that what we are doing data on that today. So data on top is the standard shared storage infrastructure built for companies who are ready to move to a private cloud infrastructure. So this is the platform which can scale. This is the platform which is unified. And this is the platform which is unified. So unified is not really a surprise because we are doing unified storage since 2002. The other two is a little bit different. So we have multi-tenancy for quite a long time, which is now getting the traction with the platform which scales. And with scaling, I mean that you can start with an extremely small storage. And with extremely storage, I mean you can start small storage like this. So 2-unit storage system. And from 2-unit storage system, you can grow online your whole storage infrastructure without shutting down the applications to the biggest storage infrastructure what you would probably have in the company. So there's online scaling, there's nearly unlimited scaling in this product, which is really, really important. And this is the product where we have traditionally all the efficiency technologies. So the idea behind data OneTop was originally to help customers to pay less for the storage. So that was the idea back in 5 years ago, back in 8 years ago, that when we delivered our first application, the primary appliance that we told customers, look, you got this feature free of charge in the storage system, you enable it and you will need to buy less storage for it. It sounds a little bit crazy from a storage company, but this is what we do. And this is the platform where we have a lot of features. And one of the most important features of the storage system is that we have integrated data protection. So let me give you an example of how this integrated data protection works. One of our biggest customers is CERN. So CERN is located in Switzerland. They built large hadron collider many years ago. And they have 7,000 engineers working on this large hadron collider. And basically, what they operate on top of the NetApp storage system is an Oracle database. So pretty much every customer has some sort of database. Some of them have Oracle, some of them have SQL, some of them have MySQL, and there are the new ones like NoSQL, MongoDB, and so on and so on. So basically, CERN uses an Oracle database. And basically for them, the Oracle database means that if the Oracle database is down, they have 7,000 engineers which cannot access the database. So I can say it's pretty important for them. And they run the Oracle infrastructure in our storage, and there's a very good reason for that. So if you look at a database-driven storage system, you need to figure out 3 main things when you build storage for database. So the number one is the storage has to be fast enough, right? Because if the storage is slow, you're going to have problems. And I can tell you that DBAs are the most loved people in the infrastructure. So if the storage starts to get slow, you will get a DBA calling you pretty quickly. Making the storage fast enough is not that big deal. So I am an engineer, and for everybody who's an engineer in the room, sizing something is really easy because it's like a mathematical formula. So you have inputs, you use the numbers to create something. So basically, you just need to make sure that the storage is big enough and fast enough, and it will be okay for the database. There remains 2 additional issues what you have with the storage if you have a database application. So these are, you need to make a backup and you need to make a restore. So if you have a database like that, it's a 4 trillion row database, you need to figure out how you are going to take a backup of this database. So previously they had a backup solution for this database infrastructure, which meant that they started backup of the application and 28 days later it was back up. Which also means that the restore is you start a restore and 28 days later you get a restore done. And this backup application works, not really because it just works that they say, but most of the other ones, you sometimes start the backup application and sometimes between the 0 and the 28 days you get an unknown failure or application error or whatever. So with our solution, they can restore the database in 15 minutes. So there's a huge difference between 28 days and 15 days. I'm not saying that it's possible to everyone to get these scaled numbers, because first of all, you have to have these big databases. But really going down to minutes instead of hours is very, very easy. So this is one of the most important part of the data portfolio, that you get a lot of features. And there is one thing that I should say. So there are, I hope it will not be too personal to anyone, but there are typically two types of people in the IT world. So there are people who are going to save money and they are willing to invest time. So they say that, okay, we have enough time, I'm gonna save money. So that's the trade-off I'm doing. And there's another type of people who say that, okay, I'm going to invest money to save time. So data on top and solutions based on data on top are typically for people and typically for organizations who are willing to invest to something which is not that cheap, but is going to save a lot of time. And the question only is that the time is affordable for you or not. Since cloud came in, we built a lot of infrastructure on top of data on top to make cloud usable. If you look at the big picture today, so everything is about the hybrid cloud. And there's an interesting joke about the hybrid cloud where people ask that, okay, what is a hybrid cloud? So hybrid cloud is a technology you don't understand, or I do not know. There's a developer joke about this. So for hybrid cloud infrastructures, we need at least three types of cloud infrastructure. So basically, the data products typically we target the private cloud infrastructure. So you can use data products to build a private cloud successfully. There are cloud service providers. So the number is not very accurate. There are today more than 400 private cloud providers who use services on top of OneTap. So basically, you can get DR as a service, backup as a service from local private cloud providers. And there are hyperscalers. So hyperscalers like Amazon, like Azure, like SoftData and the likes. And you can use on-top-based services. So if you build a private cloud on premises with OneTap, then you can use service providers and you can use hyperscalers to not invest too much money into your own infrastructure. And basically, for this, we are using the NetApp data fabric, which is a little bit based on remote application technologies. So today, we are in a position that you can easily move workloads from your own premises to even Amazon cloud without doing any modification. We have actually demos running on our website where we have a two-node Microsoft SQL application. One node is running in Azure, the other node is running in Amazon, and we can do failover. So if I look at the traditional data on the line, we have the physical hardware on the bottom. Physical hardware is still very important, but beyond the physical hardware, we got a lot of products within the data on the line which you can use. So we have a thing which is called FlexArray. FlexArray allows you to use third-party storage, which is not NetApp storage, to run data on top of that using virtualization. We have data on top edge, which is a software-only version of data on top. So you can use virtualization, server-based virtualization, and you can use data on top of that. We have NetApp private storage for public cloud providers. So if you say that, okay, I'm looking at public cloud solutions because from price-wise it's interesting, but I don't want to bring my data into the cloud, you can use the NetApp private storage, which is the private storage available for public cloud. So it's not inside the cloud provider, it's next to the cloud provider. You own the storage system, you rent the storage system, your data is on your private storage system, but you can still use the cheap compute from Amazon, from Azure, or from SoftData. And lastly, we have a product called Cloud OneTap. So Cloud ONTAP is a software-only, cloud-based appliance. So you can simply go to the Amazon market space. You don't need to talk to any NetApp sales rep. You don't need to talk to any NetApp partner, to any NetApp distributor. You simply go to the Amazon market space and you can buy Cloud ONTAP directly from there. So Cloud ONTAP is interesting if you have workloads that you really like to try but you don't want to invest into your infrastructure. You can get started with Cloud ONTAP, you can try out the features, and once you figure out that the project is affordable, you can move the workload from Cloud ONTAP to your on-premises storage. And we also run a proof of concept lab based on this Cloud ONTAP storage. So if you go to the poc.netapp.com, then you can try out Cloud ONTAP. So the next big thing is around Flash. I don't take a lot of time explaining Flash because tomorrow I will have a complete session on our Flash products. So today we have 3 Flash products. 3 Flash products which are all Flash arrays. In reality it is more like 2.5 because the first 2 is shipping and the third one is a future product. So if I look at E series, EF series is an all Flash product based on our E series platform. We have actually one in our booth. So if you come and visit at our booth, we can actually show you this hardware, how it looks like, how it performs, and so on. So what it does is it's extremely small, extremely high performance storage system. So NetApp traditionally publish all the benchmarks which are available publicly. So you can check the performance numbers of the NetApp EF platform. The second all-flash what we have is based on the ONTAP platform is called all-flash FAS. So the interesting thing about all-flash FAS is that you can use all-flash and you can scale out to libraries. So even with an all-flash platform, if you figure out that you don't need all-flash for every single workload you have, you can scale out the platform and you can mix it with hybrid storage. And then you can build a single storage infrastructure which has pieces of all-flash, pieces of hybrid, and pieces traditional disk drives. So tomorrow I will have a full session of Flash, all of our Flash products in the other presentation rooms. It's afternoon 2 p.m. So our second biggest platform is E-Series. So I told you the example at the beginning, but there are people who is willing to invest time to save money, right? So E-Series is the platform where you need to invest time to save money. So E-Series is a very affordable storage solution. It's, I would say, one of the cheapest storage solutions directly out there. What E-Series is doing is extremely fast and extremely easy to configure. So E-Series is the platform where you deliver in the data center and 20 minutes later you can actually use it. It's very, very easy to configure, very, very easy to maintain, and very easy to use. We have 5 different configurations of the system. We have entry-level systems and we have mid-range systems. With E-Series, we don't really shoot for the high-end platforms. So we only have entry and we have mid-range systems. I usually call E-Series as easy series. So trying to represent that it is really easy to configure. Once I had a distributor, they asked me to do a half-day workshop for partners, demonstrating them how to install E-Series. And I told them that's not possible to do half-day training of the E-Series because once you go enough, 20 minutes later you get the system configured, so I have no idea what to talk about half-day. So basically it's really easy. So we have have the standard kind of systems from these series. So they have no actual surprise. They pretty much look like a storage system. So if you come and visit us at our booth, you will see something like this. 2 units, you have 24 drives, and so on and so on. That's an interesting one, which is the 4-unit one. So imagine that this is a 4-unit array, which is something like this. And in 4-unit array, you will get 16 drives. So if storage, if the space used by the storage system is important, this series is very good decision because it will give you a very high density. We have a lot of new innovations with this series, and one of the most important of them is dynamic dispose. What dynamic dispose is doing? One of the biggest pain points of storage systems if you have a failed disk drive. So any of you who faced with a failed disk drive, you know that for the rebuild time, for the time while the storage is recovering, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of performance. So if you're running your applications, if you're running your databases, if you have a failed drive in your storage system, your applications will face performance issues. So dynamic dispose is a solution against this issue. So even with the biggest disk drives, it decreases the pain point of the storage system from 4 days to roughly 1.5 hours. And even the impact of the failed disk drive will be not that big. I will have an e-series tomorrow. That's going to be in the focus group 1 at 5 p.m. So if you want to learn more about the e-series, what kind of solutions we have in the e-series, then you can check the session tomorrow. A couple of years ago, Converge systems started to take the data centers. And our first Converge infrastructure solution, we came out with Cisco. Originally, we came out with a solution with Cisco and VMware together, so it was a Cisco VMware NetApp solution, a Converge infrastructure solution, and we call the solution as a FlexPod. A FlexPod can save a lot of money and can save a lot of configuration time. So currently, FlexPod is the #1 Converge system in the world. The reason we are promoting FlexPod is there is a complete flexible architecture. So usually with Converge infrastructures, you get a black box, and if any of the resources goes away in the black box, so if you need more compute or if you need more storage or more network, you need just to buy another black box. So the interesting thing about FlexPod is a complete flexible solution, so you can individually scale any part of the solution. So if you need more compute, you just buy more compute. If you need more storage, you just buy more storage. You don't need to replicate the infrastructure at its small. It's extremely easy to deploy, so we have deployment guides, we have automation, we have partners who are ready to install and deploy and maintain. So FlexPod is a very interesting solution. It used to not be very affordable, but with the latest editions of FlexPod, we can start a very small scale. We also have one FlexPod at our booth, which is currently a UCS server and a storage device. So if you're interested more how the FlexPod looks like, how it's configured, how it's cabled, how it looks like, it's more visible behavior, then you can take a look at our booth and you will see a full FlexPod solution. The next interesting thing is what we call hyper-converged infrastructures. So hyper-converged infrastructures started as a boom 1 or 2 years ago. So the definition is a hybrid converged infrastructure is if you are looking for a system for virtualization, what you can deploy and run in 15 minutes and contains everything server, storage, and networking in one single box, and that's called hyper-converged infrastructure. So we have a hyper-converged offering together with VMware. It's based on VMware vSphere virtualization. It's called the NetApp integrated infrastructure. So basically, in 4 units, it contains 4 servers running VMware infrastructure, and it contains a 2-unit storage system, which will run the data stores for the VMware infrastructure. It contains all the licenses from VMware and NetApp side, what you will need to run the infrastructure. So if you are going to deploy something which is extremely fast to deploy, so if literally after cracking the system, 15 minutes later you can run virtual machines and you can put your applications on this system. So the next point is object storage. Object storage is getting more and more important in big data applications and modern applications. So how many of you know what object storage is? Okay. So let me explain like a parking situation. So object storage is easily understandable if you know how a file system looks like. If you look at the file system, you have folders and you have files, right? If you go to parking, parking is pretty much look like the standard file systems. What kind of shopping centers you have here? You have Tesco or you have, I think you have Carrefour, right? Yeah. So if you go to a shopping center, standard shopping center, the way you park your car is you go figure out a free slot in the parking, and then you park your car, and you need to remember where your car is, correct? So you go to shopping, and once you finish your shopping, you go back to your car, and you need to figure out where your car is. So you need to remember the road, you need to remember the position where your car is. This is pretty much how file system works. If you have a file, you need to figure out where the file is. You go to the appropriate folder where you store the file, and then you know the file is. Object storage is similar to file systems, but it has additional intelligence. So object storage is like wallet parking. So you go to a hotel or you go to an expensive restaurant, you get wallet parking. So when you get this device, you can take a walk inside, and they were huge. The issue with backup systems, with these state backup systems, they were extremely fast to backup, but they were extremely slow to restore. The other issue with tape is that if you make a calculation of the full price of the tapes, so the tape devices, the tape drives, the cartridges, so the tape media, if you have offsite backup, so you actually shipment your tape devices out of your premises, it is very expensive. So cloud backup is getting more and more interesting. Even in this time, we are getting more and more interesting, especially with customers who say that for me, for the backup infrastructure, the only thing matter is the price. So I want to pay the less possible price what I can. And from this point of view, cloud integrated backup solutions are interesting because if you look at the price models of the cloud solutions, and typically talking about Google and Amazon, they are getting cheaper and cheaper. And pretty much every month they announce the new pricing, and in every month when they announce the new pricing, they are getting even more cheap. So basically, we have an appliance which looks like a backup appliance, but actually it doesn't store the backup, the majority of the backup on itself. So basically what it does, it works exactly the same way as a VPN device or a standard backup appliance, but this device is able to store the backup data in the cloud. So obviously it has all the security features you will need to store your backups in the cloud, and it works with 95% of the public So you can select any of the public cloud providers. You can select Amazon, you can select Google, you can select Software, you can select Azure, you can select AT&T, whatever the cloud provider you would like to work with, and with this single device you can store your backups in the public cloud infrastructure. So today, if you make a calculation, this probably will be a lot cheaper than an on-premises backup solution. So basically it will store the most recent backups locally. So if you need to do a restore, it will not come from the cloud, it will happen on your cache. So if you need to make a restore, it will probably restore from locally. We have two types of physical devices which work in two ways. So they have a backup mode, so you can use this device as a backup device, and they can work as a huge file store which stores the data in the cloud. So if you look at the public cloud devices and you get interested to store archive data or backup data in the cloud, this device can be a good solution. And the last piece is our, let's say, everything else category. So in this category, we have mainly software solutions. So software solutions which I can put in three main categories. So we have software solutions what we deliver with our storage systems. We have software solutions which are additional to our storage systems. And we have software solutions which are completely independent from our storage solutions. So when we deliver a storage system, when we deliver a fast-based storage system, we include six, seven different types of storage solutions in the system. These solutions are different monitoring and management solutions. So there is a solution for day-to-day management. There is one for data analytics. There is one for performance management, and so on and so on. The second category is more like application management. So the second category is meant to have application management from the storage side. Or if you look at from the other side, the storage management from the application side. So these are the applications which can be used to make backups directly from applications. And these are the applications, for example, used by some, used by different enterprises to make sure that when I create a backup from the application side, then it will be an application consistent one. So basically, I can use these software solutions directly from the application to create backups on my storage system and then replicate these backups. Mostly this is the way how our customers work with the backup systems. So usually our customers, what they do is they give the application management to the application administrators. So you can give the database management, the database backup management to the DBAs. You can give the virtualization storage management to the virtual administrators, and so on. And there is an Easter egg here. So the latest of our software portfolio is an interesting piece. So together with Microsoft, we created a software which is able to move virtual machines from Hyper-V to VMware, and also we can move virtual machines from VMware to Hyper-V. So if you are interested to run more than one hypervisor and you want to move virtual machines between, this software can help you to move the applications and the virtual machines between hypervisor in a matter of minutes. So basically, it uses a storage level cloning methodology, and you can move a virtual machine from VMware to Hyper-V in less than 5 minutes. That's an interesting thing. And the last category of our software is when we provide software solutions for non-NetApp customers. So So basically, this software is called On-Command Insight, and basically you can use this software to monitor heterogeneous storage infrastructure. So if you have EMC, if you have Hitachi or IBM, or any of the logos on the bottom of the page, you can use this heterogeneous storage infrastructure monitoring to monitor your infrastructure. It does monitoring, it does planning, it does trending, capacity and performance planning, and it gives you assurance that the storage infrastructure will work and you will be able to get information about that. So with this is what I would like to describe. This is the whole NetApp storage portfolio today. We have storage solutions, we have backup solutions, we have too many things to talk about in 45 minutes.